this season. When we start the show Friday morning, guys, and we are evaluating and grading the team picks like everybody does, what would an A-plus round for the Jets look like, Pioli?
To me, it's getting a pass rusher at number 4, right? It's such a quarterback-driven league. Get a pass rusher, a guy that can apply pressure. But then at number 10, move back just a little bit and collect some more draft currency. Because the Jets have more than just a couple of holes to fill. So if you get a dynamic pass rusher, but then, again, move back not too far.
Yeah.
Because where the other needs are, the positions where they need it, wide receiver, offensive line, I think that they could get a good player in the teens.
Okay.
But again, to collect more draft currency, not only for this year, but maybe they can move back just a little bit and get a 1 or a 2 for next year. So that, to me, that would be an outstanding start for the New York Jets.
I love it. And I also think that, you definitely have the edge. But I think cornerback's a position that they have to address immediately because they've got a young secondary. They've got 4 picks in the first 2 rounds, right? So when you're talking about the first pick, I'd go with Sauce Gardner. I love him. He's a shutdown corner. He's a guy that can play, man-to-man, shut down a half of the field, match up on your one-on-one receivers. And in this league, and especially their division with Miami and with Buffalo, the guys that they have out there, they're going to need that cornerback play. In addition to that, I like Jermaine Johnson at 10 because I think that the top guys are going to be gone. But then you address the wide receiver position in the O-line in the second round because, again, they have 2 picks there. So I just think that they've got to hit early, but I think defense all the way for Robert Saleh, the way that he wants to play that game, you saw it with the 49ers, it starts with their front 4.
Right. Everything's on the table. We're talking about all defense. Scott, very creative to trade back and very pragmatic. I think that the Jets fan base has just decided, like, Sauce or we riot. Like, we have to have this guy. And Rich Eisen's been a huge part of that, like Sauce. So if you're talking about the best case scenario, I think they do get Sauce Gardner. And listen, they got to go against Stephon Diggs. They got to go against Tyreek Hill. Like, they have to go against those guys for a long time. And who knows what New England's going to do. Bring in a corner. If that guy is half as good as they say, you can't go wrong. At number 10, we're talking best case scenario is we can just wave a wand. At number 10, they trade for Deebo Samuel. And they end up in the draft, and the next headline on the New York Post the next day is Sauce and Deebo, let's roll. That's the best case scenario. But I do actually kind of want to flip this for 1 second because it's New York Jets and it's draft week. I'm also kind of entertaining the worst case scenario. What would be the F minus?
Oh, no.
Because, so let's just say at 4, because you're like, what would be the Jets fans' nightmare? At 4, and they say, we're going to shock the world, and we're going to build a defense, and we're going to draft Devin Lloyd, the linebacker, and the Jets fans lose their mind. And then what I like about this is that then they have about 45 minutes to fester before they get to the 10 pick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I have videotaped to think, how this one might go. If they get to 10, this is worst case, Devin Lloyd, and if they get up there, and Roger Goodell's with the 10th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Breece Hall, running back, Iowa State. It's going to go like this. Roll the boys.
Tight end from Penn State, Kyle Brady. Ladies and gentlemen, our first real upset, I think, at this point in the draft.
This has to be the biggest mockery I've ever seen in my entire life.
We could trade a
Hands
coach.
down, the
I
biggest
would
mockery.
trade him right
It's an
now.
absolute mockery.
You're going to have no receivers next year. You're going to play with 6 tight ends on the field. Boomer can't throw the ball more than 10 yards, so what does it matter?
Everybody's catching strays.
Sal.
Boomer Esiason got annihilated.
I think you need to trade him right
Trade
now.
night. I
That was
trade a coach
Australian.
right
That was
now.
Australian, I'm sorry.
Listen, we're positive in this show, and I hope the Jets nail this draft, and I love Big Joe, and I love
Yeah.
Robert Saleh. Don't rule out Jets fans' disappointment and apoplectic anger after that because we've seen it before.
Even when they're happy, I feel like you can play that same sound. I've been at Radio City Music Hall for those drafts with those fans. You can do nothing to make them happy or upset. That's the reaction that they give. I don't see a Kyle Brady, though, moment for the Jets in this draft. They need so much help. They need so much support that with those 2 picks in the first round, whether they trade or they don't, they're going to end up walking. I can't see, even if they get Stingley and then they get a Jameson as a wide receiver because they need to support him to support Zach Wilson. I don't know that we're going to walk away. This is one of those teams that isn't going to have an F. I don't see them having an F in this one because they need so much help. All of those guys are talented, so many holes to fill. They kind of can't miss, even though we don't know who they're going to take. But Pioli, I want to go back to you. Do you think the Jets should trade for Deebo Samuel?
Well, real quick, I want to go back to the point you're making here.
Okay.
And everyone said this. They need so much. So that's why collecting additional currency, moving back just a little bit. And the difference between player number 10 in this draft and player number 20, there isn't a great gap. There's going to be a corner.
So moved.
You're talking about, there's going to be a good player. So moving back, do they go get Deebo Samuel? It wouldn't be a bad idea. It really wouldn't. But again, what are you going to give up to get that? Now, the other thing is, will they be able to use Deebo Samuel the way that the 49ers do? And again, everyone sees what Deebo Samuel is, but that was part of Kyle and Mike McDaniel's brainchild. They created that whole idea and that identity and his ability to have production. So to me, just because a player can do something for one team doesn't mean that they can do it for any other team.
But wouldn't Saleh know that better than anybody, and he must trust his OC?
He would have
if
to
they
trust.
Make that move?
He might, but again, Robert's greatest skill is on defense. So, I don't know the answer to that.
Interesting.